Hey friends, welcome back to Speakup Session, your cozy English podcast where we practice real English together.
If you've ever, tried to explain your morning in English, you probably know how quickly just simple words can turn into, well, a bit of a mess. So today, we're tackling that exact problem. We took a really deep dive into some specific source material. It was actually a practice transcript for conversational English. And we didn't just look at the words, we looked at the timing, the flow, the whole structure underneath it all.
Exactly. It's not just a vocabulary list, is it? It's more like a blueprint for how you actually time your conversation about the day. The material gives you that precise sequence, the order you need to sound, well, fluent and organized when you're talking about one of the most common topics, really. Small talk about your morning. It's a huge shortcut, actually.
Yeah, so our mission today is to pull out those structural nuggets, the exact phrases and the sequence that let you, the listener, confidently build your own morning story. We're going beyond just what the speakers in the source said and looking at why they structured their day like that, conversationally speaking. We want you to feel ready, whether your morning is super organized or, like mine sometimes, a bit chaotic.
Okay, let's unpack this.
So we start right at the beginning, the moment you switch from being asleep to being awake. And the source material, quite cleverly, highlights this linguistic difference that immediately signals, you've got a handle on the conversation.
Right. And that's the difference between waking up and getting up.
Mm-hmm.
The hosts in the material, they called them Leo and Emma. They specifically separated these. Leo says he wakes up at 7:11,
mm-hmm. but
he doesn't actually get up, out of bed until 7:15. And Emma, she wakes up even earlier, 6:30. And it's more than just telling the time. It's a really important structural thing. By setting up I wake up at versus I get up at, you immediately show whoever you're talking to that there's like nuance in how you describe your day. You're not just reading off a schedule, you're describing, an experience. It shows you're not just translating word for word from your own language.
Yeah, that 15-minute gap, right, between being conscious and actually doing something. That's often where the interesting stuff happens in conversation, isn't it? Because that's when you decide what you do first. And the source material gave two great, completely different examples of these first actions.
Yeah, you see the sort of health conscious start versus the modern reality. One host says, I drink a glass of water. And they specifically link it to a good result. It helps me feel awake, which is a fantastic conversational pattern. Actually, you state the action, then the reason or motivation.
And then the one we can probably all relate to. I usually check my phone. Not the best habit.
I love that they included that imperfect detail in the source. Oh, it's brilliant because it teaches you that adding specific, non-generic details immediately makes you sound more fluent. Anyone could say, I check my phone, but adding that little bit of self-awareness, not the best habit, it turns a simple action into a real point of connection. It shows a bit of personality, which is, the whole point of small talk, really.
Definitely. And beyond the water and the phone, we get this sort of quick list of physical actions that ease us into the day. Things like, I feel tired in the morning, which covers the feeling. And then the physical stuff. I open the curtains and I open the window and stretch.
Can we pause on one of those? I open the curtains.
Yeah.
Why do you think the source material highlights that as a core action? It seems almost too simple.
That's a really good question. Thinking about the learner, I suspect it's because it uses a very simple verb, open, and a common object, curtains, that everyone understands but maybe isn't in the first 100 words you learn.
Yeah.
It kind of forces the learner to go just a tiny step beyond the absolute basics, like a small but important piece of structural filler.
Precisely. These little filler phrases like I make my bed, which also came up, they're the sort of glue between the big obvious actions. If you can confidently put together 4 or 5 of these simple sentences, you've basically mastered the first 5 minutes of talking about your morning.
Okay, so once that first bit is done, waking up and immediate actions, we move into section 2. getting ready. This is that sequence of self-care and preparation. And it needs to be chronological, right, for the conversation to flow well.
Yeah, the structure here is pretty much a hygiene checklist. The hosts and the source go through it quickly, setting up a pattern most people recognize. Take a shower, brush my teeth, and wash my face, and then get dressed.
It's the order, isn't it? You wouldn't normally say, I get dressed and then I take a shower.
Yeah.
So the source reinforces that logical, natural sequence of how people actually do things, which is vital when you're trying to build conversational confidence.
And what's really interesting here is the power of just a short declarative sentence. The source uses these verbs. I wash my face. I brush my teeth. I get dressed. I comb my hair, like separate, strong building blocks. They don't really try to link them with and or then or complex grammar. The pause, the period, kind of does the work of connecting the sequence.
That makes it super easy for the learner then. You don't have to worry about complex sentences. You just sort of stack the actions. And after the hygiene and getting dressed comes the almost universal ritual, make coffee.
Yes, including coffee is structural gold. Because it leads so naturally into talking about another activity, something you might do alongside it. One host mentioned, I listen to music in the morning. And that phrase shifts the conversation slightly, doesn't it? From just tasks to personal enjoyment.
Right. That shift is where the conversation can get more interesting, isn't it? Saying, I listen to music invites the question, oh yeah, what sort of music? It's like a conversational lubiment.
Absolutely. And the analysis suggests that when you're building your own script for your morning routine, you should try to include at least one non-essential activity like that. It shows you're engaged with your life, not just, getting through the tasks. That basic structure we talked about. I wake up at 7, I brush my teeth, I take a shower, I get dressed. It really needs that personal touch to make it sound like you, the learner, are actually talking, not just reciting a list.
Speaking of personal touches, let's talk about food. Moving to section 3, breakfast time. And here's where it gets really interesting because the hosts give us 2 very specific and quite different ways people might start their day food-wise.
Yeah, we basically get the quick carb dash versus the protein power up. Host Emma goes for speed, a banana and tea, maybe some oatmeal. Host Leo goes for the bigger meal, eggs and toast, sometimes fruit or cereal.
It's funny, isn't it? The quick banana versus the eggs and toast. Which one do you think is more common these days? But the point is, it gives the learner choices.
The quick option is probably easier to talk about quickly. But yes, the key thing is the source material gives you specific nouns. Having the words for cereal, eggs, toast, banana, coffee, and apple takes you immediately from just saying, I eat breakfast, which is vague, to I eat eggs, which is specific. And specificity, well, it sounds like fluency, doesn't it?
And crucially, the source material shows the simplest, most effective way to structure the dialogue using these words.
Yes. The question is just a simple inversion. What do you eat for breakfast? And the answer structure is perfectly parallel. I eat food and drink drink. It's like a mini lesson in grammatical parallelism. You only need to plug in 2 nouns to make a complete working exchange. I eat oatmeal and drink tea. Simple.
That structure is just bedrock conversational confidence, isn't it? Okay, so once the internal routine, getting ready, eating is done, the learner needs to handle the transition to the outside world, which brings us to section 4, the transition to work.
Right, and this section is maybe the most dynamic structurally because the source gives 2 totally different endings, reflecting how people work now. The commuter and the remote worker. And this means you need 2 different sets of verbs and prepositions.
So the commuter routine, that's all about movement and place. You hear things like, I go to work around 8:0, sometimes walk to the bus stop, and then I take the bus. This introduces those strong directional verbs, go, walk, take, and prepositions like to and at.
Exactly. Notice how the focus shifts grammatically. The actions are all external. Put on shoes, leaving the house. The whole routine is about moving from one place to another. The key phrases become, I put on my shoes, I leave the house at 8, and the destination, I go to work.
But then the remote worker just throws a spanner in the works, doesn't it? With the whole leaving the house structure. They just say, I work from home. Their departure is internal.
Precisely. So this needs a completely different set of structural verbs. Instead of take the bus, the key actions are things like, I go to my desk and I start my computer. The main verb changes from external movement walk, take, go to internal actions, like starting a task, start, open, log in.
Hang on. If the source is about structure, how does that phrase, I leave the house at 8, fit for the remote worker? That phrase kind of becomes useless structurally, doesn't it?
That's a great question, actually, a really critical point for the learner. The structure, I leave the house at X time, marks the end of the morning routine for the commuter. For the remote worker, the equivalent structure is, I start working at X time. The time marker is still the crucial bit, but the action verb changes. So the learner needs to swap leave the house for something like go to my desk or start my computer, but keep that time marker. It shows the routine structure is flexible, adaptable.
Okay. That is the deep dive difference. You realize you're not just memorizing sentences, you're memorizing the slot where the information goes.
Exactly. Now, we need to pull this all together, synthesize the whole structure into something easy to remember, easy to repeat. That brings us to section 5. The source material helpfully pulled out 6 core summary phrases. These cover the 6 sort of universal pillars of talking about your morning.
Right. Time, health, hygiene, clothing, food, and destination. Let's just list them again quickly for attention. I wake up at 7, I drink water, I brush my teeth, I get dressed, I eat breakfast, I go to work.
Those are the anchors. If you can only remember 6 phrases, those 6 give you a complete understandable story of how your day starts.
But the real, genius move for the learner was that mini practice conversation the source used at the end. It proved you don't even need all 6 or all 20 phrases we talked about. You maybe only need 4 key pieces of information.
Yes, it creates this 4-pillar conversational framework.
Okay.
If you know the time waking up, your first immediate action, your breakfast habit, and your time leaving starting work, you basically have enough information to have a successful little exchange about your morning.
So the learner's mental checklist goes from this potentially long list of tasks down to just 4 essential facts they need to have ready.
Exactly. It's the ultimate application, really. By focusing on those 4 pillars, you stop worrying so much about perfect grammar and you just execute the conversational structure. You now have the sequence, the specific verbs, the vocabulary you need to handle this really common conversation in English confidently.
So we've basically given you the tools to talk about your day clearly, concisely, using a structure that, the source material showed works in practice. It's the shortcut to sounding not just like you know the words, but like you know the flow. Fluent.
So your task now is really application. Try using those 6 core summary phrases every day just to build that muscle memory. Think of them as like the foundation of your linguistic daily habit.
And as you get comfortable with those phrases and the structure, finish your own mental routine with that specific question they raised in the source material. Try using the vocabulary we just discussed to actually formulate your answer, maybe even say it out loud right now.
What's the first thing you do in the morning?
So what does this all mean? Well, it means the next time someone asks about your morning, you hopefully won't freeze up trying to translate. You'll just follow the flow.
Hey everyone, and welcome. Talking about your morning is something you do all the time. So today, we're going to learn some really simple, super useful English phrases to describe your morning routine. Let's jump right in. So let me ask you, how do you talk about your morning in English? Ever get stuck trying to find the right words? Well, if that sounds familiar, you are in the right place. We're going to build up your confidence, one simple phrase at a time. All right, let's do this. We're going to focus on sentences that are super practical, ones you can literally start using tomorrow morning.
Okay, so where do we start? Right at the very beginning of the day, of course. That moment your alarm goes off and you open your eyes.
First things first, let's talk about wake up versus get up. Now, these sound similar, but there's a really key difference. Waking up is just when your brain switches on. You stop sleeping. But getting up is when you actually physically throw back the covers and get out of bed. So you might wake up at 7 but not actually get up until 7:15. See the difference? So let's practice that first one. Just say it out loud with me. I wake up at 7. Good job. And now, for the second part, let's try this one. I get up at 7:15. Perfect. You can already see how you can use these two sentences together to tell a little story. So you're finally out of bed. What's next? Well, here are a few really common things people do. Maybe for you it's, I drink water. Or, let's be honest, maybe it's, I check my phone. You could also open the curtains or make my bed. Which one of these is you? Okay, we're up. Now it's time to move on to the next big part of the morning, actually getting ready for the day. And for this part, we've got some super important verbs. Think of these as the building blocks for your morning story. Simple things like I wash my face, I brush my teeth, I take a shower, I get dressed. Just really simple, everyday words for everyday actions. Of course, your morning routine isn't just a list of chores, right? Maybe you do something to make it a bit more enjoyable. Here's a great example. Let's say it together. I listen to music in the morning. See? That adds a nice personal touch. And check this out. We can now start putting all these little pieces together to tell our morning story. Look, I wake up at 7, I brush my teeth, I take a shower, I get dressed, I make coffee. Boom. Just like that, you've described a whole chunk of your morning. It's that easy. All right, next up, maybe the most important part of the day for some of us, breakfast. Let's get you the words you need to talk about your first meal. So here we've got two pretty different but totally common breakfast styles. You've got Leo with his classic eggs and toast and coffee, and then there's Emma, who might have something quicker, like a banana and some tea. The point is, there's no right or wrong breakfast, right? It's just about having the words to describe yours. So, what's on your plate? Here are some of the most common words you'll need. We've got cereal, eggs, toast, banana, coffee, and apple. As you look at this list, which of these are part of your morning? Okay, let's practice putting it all together in one full sentence. We'll use Leo's breakfast as an example. Ready? Try this. I eat eggs and toast, and I drink coffee. Awesome. Okay, so you're clean, you're dressed, you've had some food. What's left? Well, it's time for the final piece of the puzzle, leaving the house. And here are the key phrases for that part. The final steps. I put on my shoes. Then I leave the house at 8. And where are you going? I go to work. And how do you get there? I take the bus. These are the phrases that launch you into the rest of your day. Now, this is a really great comparison for how a lot of us live now. You've got Emma, who goes to work, so she might say, I walk to the bus stop. But then you have Leo, who works from home. His commute is just walking to his desk. So he might say, I go to my desk. Both are totally normal morning routines these days, and now you have the words for either one. Let's practice this one more time because it's a big one. It's the phrase that ends your morning at home. Say it with me. I leave the house at 8. Great. Wow, okay, we have covered so much. So let's do a quick review and pull everything together so you can see your complete morning story. So if you remember anything, remember this. These 6 simple sentences are the absolute core of your morning story. I wake up at, you just fill in the time. Then I drink water, I brush my teeth, I get dressed, I eat breakfast, and I go to work. This is your basic toolkit, your foundation. They might seem simple, but trust me, these phrases are so powerful. And the best way to make them feel natural? Practice them. I mean it. Try saying them out loud tomorrow morning as you're actually doing these things. It makes a huge difference. So I want to end by throwing a question back to you. I want you to answer it right now out loud. Using what we just learned, what's the very first thing you do in the morning? Go ahead, say it. That's it. That's the first step to totally mastering your morning routine in English.
And that's it for today's Speak Up session. You did an awesome job practicing your English.
Yes. Thanks so much for watching and listening to our podcast.